Well, at least you have a Quran. That's a good start.
Yeah, I have a lot of different spiritual books.
Nice. Yeah, so Quran and Islam have the concept of Tawheed that you might not find in a lot of religions, which is the oneness of Allah. That there's only one creator. He has no kids, no fathers, no rivals. He is our sole creator for the whole universe, for humans, for animals, for all other creatures. And it's a very direct relationship. So you don't have to go and confess to a priest or have to go and give money to do things like this, but rather, you want to confess, you turn straight to your creator. You want to pray, you pray straight to your creator. So those are some things that I find very unique about Islam. And if you look at a lot of religions, you find some things that clash with scientific facts. But in Islam, if you look at a study of the Quran, you will find that modern science is only catching up to what the Quran already has stated. There's a good book if you want to read. It's called The Bible, the Quran and Science by Dr. Miris Burkai. Yeah. So, any questions you may have?
No.
All right.
No questions.
Excellent. Yeah. Feel free.
What do you believe in?
What do I believe in? Hard to put it in words. It's really hard to put it in words.
Just a feeling?
No, but everything fits together. Science and religion, it all fits. There's no contradictions anywhere.
Excellent.
I find none.
Nice.
Do you believe like there is a creator somewhere?
Somewhere out there?
No.
So do you believe there is a creator?
Sort of. Sort of.
Excellent. So you developed this belief over just reading a lot of different books, or?
Well, I've studied every religion.
Nice.
Every religion, every philosopher. They're all basically the same. They all say the same thing. Different ways of saying the same thing. Good life of the Prophet. Is this about Muhammad?
Yes, it is. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Maybe I'll take this.
Feel free.
Do you, can you quote any spiritual quotes from your Quran?
The whole Quran is a spiritual quote, but if you look at, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. That Allah created that death and life and all of this to see which one of you would perfect your actions and yourselves, right? To put forward the best of actions. So it tells you life is not just about chasing money and cars and houses and things, but rather to work on yourself and to work on your actions to make them to perfection in accordance to the Quran and according to where the Prophet.
Be the best you that you can be.
Right, and make your actions the best. And the best is that which Allah has ordained and the Prophet has shown us.
That's not bad.
That's good, right?
Yeah, that's not bad.
All right. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ told us that you will never be a true believer until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. Right? So.
Okay.
Coming along like me.
No spiritual revelations though?
What do you mean by spiritual revelations? Meaning, as I said, the whole Quran is a book of spirituality to me.
I find it not to be.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was really difficult.
Really? What did you read?
Like tedious. Like more, I don't know. It's been a while since I tried reading it, but
Try reading again. Maybe you'll see a better flow to it.
Well, there's a lot of really good books out there.
Excellent, yeah.
There's so much out there.
None better than the Quran though, because the Quran not only is it a spiritual book, but it has scientific facts in it, it has legal systems in it, it's got stories about the past, prophecies about the future, none of that without a single contradiction, right? You won't find that in a lot of other books. It's not just a human trying to figure something out, but rather from the creator of humans. Right?
So how do you guys feel about the Shia and the Sunni?
Shia Sunni was a political split, right? It's not a spiritual split, and it developed into a religious split because other countries and other powers tried to instigate that. But if you look at the original Muslims, there was one Muslim body, and then the Shia, the word Shia means sect, right? So they kind of separated from the majority of the Muslims. Even till today, 80-90% of the Muslims are one body, and then then you have about 5 to 10, 15% Shia.
So,
Depending.
How much?
what about the Buddha?
What about the Buddha?
Have you studied the Buddhist teaching?
I have. Yes, there's an author named Suzuki. I read quite a few of his books. Mahatma Buddha himself, we don't have a lot of his own writings. We have a lot of people's writings about him and his philosophy. And the Buddhist philosophy kind of developed over time, right? Buddha himself and his rules of enlightenment and things are not a book in and of themselves. The people came and then wrote about this. And then you have Confucius and his brand, and then you have different types of Buddhism. In theory, there's some great concepts, but we don't really see a practical implementation anywhere in the world. Like for example, in Buddhism, you're not supposed to harm people, right? But if you look at Myanmar or these countries that are Buddhist countries, or Thailand, you see a lot of torture and murder and things. So it doesn't really seem to fit, right? In Buddhism, as the author...
Well, you have exoteric and you have esoteric religion. So I assume the Sufis are the esoteric.
No, we don't really have that split in Islam. In Islam, you only have one.
No, I'm not saying a split. I'm just saying you have the inner...
So in Islam, you have it together.
Religion
The
and you
inner...
have outer religion.
but
I feel like the Sufis are more transcendental than
I wouldn't say that. I would just say that Sufism is a very broad term for a lot of people that have kind of exited from mainstream Islamic thought, right? So Islam has the inner and outer together. It doesn't have two separate, right? So you have the spirituality, you have the meditation, what we call dhikr, dua, prayer, all of that cleansing of the heart. And then you also have the daily prayers and hajj and laws and all of that together in one. Anybody that splits it then kind of like leaves a part of the actual religion, right?
خیلی خسته بودم خوابیده بودم شروع بود و اینا
هنوزم هستاست
آره همین راه شلوغه اون طرف
So you believe that God is a being?
زیاد شرکت میکنه به دعوا.
What do you mean by being, right?
Like he's somewhere out there and he...
God is a creator, yes. We believe that.
So what is he?
He is a creator. He is what we call khaliq. He's the one that created, right?
Yeah.
But we don't put him in...
What is his essence? What?
So the dhat of Allah, the essence of Allah is as he describes himself in the Quran. We don't put human thought.
How does he describe himself?
Allah describes him that he is the awwal wal akhir. He has no beginning. He has no end.
Right.
He is not laysa kamithlihi shay. In the Quran it tells us
Basically
that
just pure spirit.
So he is the creator, right? And we don't put human imagination on a creator, right? So for example, Allah...
Well, you are.
No, we're not.
You're saying God is a creator.
No, but that's not human imagination. That's what Allah told us about himself in the
That's
Quran.
what Muhammad told us.
No, this is what Allah told
That's
us.
what Muhammad told us.
No, that's what Allah told
Muhammad
us.
wrote it.
No, Muhammad couldn't write. Apparently you didn't know that? He couldn't read or write.
So who wrote it?
So the revelation came to the Prophet Muhammad, but it's the words of Allah.
Right.
And even
Well,
in
a
it
lot of people
sometimes...
have revelations. We have revelations
no.
today.
Like what? Like you get wahi? Like you actually get...
People have revelations
Like
today.
Jibril, the Prophet... I mean, like how does that work? You mean like revelation in what sense?
Well, if you
I mean,
have,
the angel Gabriel doesn't come to anybody today nowadays, right? I didn't think so.
well,
So
no, you don't. You see, you're thinking of it as beings. You're saying an angel is a being.
yeah, so the
God is a being.
angel came to the Prophet Muhammad, Jibril, right? So and people saw him.
According to Muhammad.
No, according to historic fact of those that were there present, that
But
documented
almost
it.
every religion founder says that God came to them.
So again, the
and
Prophet
gave them
Muhammad
the teaching.
is not the founder of Islam, right? Islam is that same religion that Jesus followed, that Moses followed, that Abraham followed, that Adam followed. The same principles of believing in one God, not worshipping idols, were the same principles taught. There's a misconception people have that Islam started with the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, right? The Prophet Muhammad never built big houses, he never
I
amounts
think you
wealth.
guys have the same Old Testament as the Hebrew.
So
Old
we
Testament.
believe in the Old Testament, but we believe it
So
has been
Don't you
corrupted.
have any new revelations?
Yeah, we have the
This stuff
Quran.
is like old. That's like what 600.
1400 some odd years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the end of Revelation.
6th century.
Yes, after that,
That's the end of the
that's
Revelation.
the end of Revelation.
For you,
for fact.
not for everybody else.
It's a fact. I mean, somebody can deny it if they like, but
God
it is what it is.
constantly revealing. That's
But again, I think we're getting lost in translation here. What do you mean by revelation? By revelation, I mean a
the
message.
same kind of revelation Muhammad had.
Yeah, so as the Quran says that he is the last of prophets, Khatam al-Nabiyyin, right? So there is
That's
no.
like drawing a line in the sand and saying, I'm not going to learn anymore.
No. We still
That's
learn.
all
No.
there is.
That's not the way it is. But everything has a beginning and an end, right? In the creation. So there was a first prophet and there's going to be a last prophet. And anytime there's a last prophet, somebody could be like, why is he the last? Well, that's
So-
what Allah chose it.
You've been Islam all your life.
No. First thing, Islam is a religion. So I've been Muslim for a good part of my life, but not all my life.
And what were you before then?
I was born in a Muslim household, but I was raised without religion. My parents were secular.
Okay. But that's the only religion you know.
Oh, no. I used to go to church. I studied the Bible in and out. I went to synagogues. I went to Buddhist temples. I studied works of, like, as I said, about Suzuki Ba Buddhism and Hinduism and Jainism.
And this is the best you found?
This is the only truth I found, yes.
If it works for you, I guess that's good.
It's not about working for me. It's after looking at different religions, after studying their, like for example, the idea that God killed his son or killed himself for forgiveness of sins doesn't make any sense to me, right?
Doesn't to me either.
Okay, so we're in agreement, right? That God could have a chosen people or race of people that are going to be holier than everybody else doesn't make sense to me, right?
Doesn't make sense.
There you go. That God would have his wife Sita kidnapped by Ravan and taken to Sri Lanka, and he wouldn't be able to take her back without an army of monkeys with Hanuman doesn't make sense to me, right?
No, but that's all mythology.
But that's part of the Hindu religion today, right?
Well, that's
worshipping of
it's
Ram, right?
representing spiritual concepts.
But they
that you
worship-
can't put into words. It's just like this. He's giving you
No.
concepts in human words that you can't really, like you were saying, spiritual concepts. You
But the
can't put in
difference
human words.
is that what the Quran teaches us is a practical, true religion, and we understand the concept that Allah is the creator of everything. He is the knower of everything. He sees everything. He hears everything. He is all powerful, right? But the idea that you worship a blue guy named Ram who couldn't even defend his wife, to me doesn't make sense because you're worshiping him.
Those are just visual aids.
But you're actually worshiping them, right?
It represents God.
Yeah, but
It's
let's
like
say
a saint or a guru.
yes, we don't
That's
believe in
God
saintism.
coming to someone through them.
But
God
if you
working
but do you
through
worship
them.
the saint?
They worship God in the saint.
Yeah, so we don't believe in that. We consider that shirk, right? Because your worship should only be for your creator, right? So when you worship,
Creator is everything.
but
God is everything.
we don't believe that. We
don't
believe
believe
God
that.
created everything, but God is not physically in everything.
Oh. Yeah, I disagree with that. Everything
All
comes
right.
from God.
Everything
That's all there
comes
is.
from God as created by God, but everything isn't God, right? You can't go to a bathroom and
Consciousness. Everything is consciousness. God, what you could call spirit, the original spirit, is consciousness.
What do you mean by consciousness?
Existence.
So Allah
Just
existed before us, right? And then Allah created us, right? And we are separate from Allah. We worship Allah.
You're not separate from
How can you not be? For example, you have shortcomings, right?
No.
No shortcomings at all?
No.
You're perfect?
No. Yeah.
Never lose your temper? Never forget things? Never get tired?
No.
Never?
No.
Never fall asleep?
No.
Really?
No.
You stay awake all night?
I'm an
Every-
expression of God. I'm a physical expression of God.
So you,
just like
so
everything.
you never make a mistake, ever?
In human terms, I might make mistakes.
So you do make mistakes. Do you get tired?
But there's no errors. Everything that we're doing is God created.
Do you get tired or not?
I get tired.
Okay, so
my body gets
that's
tired.
a shortcoming, right?
Of my body.
And Allah never gets tired.
Of my body.
Right,
Well,
so-
God is spirit.
So that's what I'm saying, that we are separate from Allah. Allah is perfect. He never gets tired. He never needs to sleep. He never
How do you
makes
think
mistakes.
God created.
By His will. When He said kun fayakun, if Allah ordered be, it was.
If you study science nowadays, you will begin to understand how God creates.
So I do study science. I work in the scientific field, actually.
Physics.
Right.
How consciousness manifests into physical reality.
Right. But what you have to understand is that in physics or in any kind of scientific study, we're only studying the creation. Right? What has already been created, we take it, we put it to physical trials, we come up with theories.
But you can go further than that.
Right, but when you go further than that, you can't put that in a clinical trial. Then it becomes theory. Right?
Yeah.
Have you studied science?
Yes.
Okay, so you know, like when you have a hypothesis and then you put it to the test, right? In a controlled environment, right? But what you say about God being conscious, you could never put that in a physical conscious trial, right?
Like your soul or your spirit or
right.
whatever.
None of that, right? So physics and science has that boundary where they study only the creation. We know about the Creator through His words, the Quran, right? The Quran addresses the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya ayyuhan Nabi, addresses him. He can't be addressing himself, right? It even censures him at certain times. Abasa wa tawalla, right?
So God speaks through all the scriptures of all the religions.
Sure, but the thing is, other scriptures have been changed, right? I'll give you an example if you like.
No, I know the Bible's been changed.
You know the Bible's been changed? Excellent. The Quran has not. That's why I encourage you to read it and see.
I've read it, but it's so tedious.
Yeah, you'll have to get a
nothing spiritual. It was like dogma.
But I think then you read it with a heart that wasn't open to spirituality. If you open up your heart a little bit more, I think you'll find that bond with your Creator.
I just found things that are more inspiring, more spiritual.
Well, then
this is like old timey religion.
Like what? Can you give me an example? What's like old and like what is not like?
Well, it's like 1400 years old.
Right.
So you're saying you think this is the last word, that
the last revelation from Allah?
God is
yes.
never gonna.
God guides people. He inspires us, no doubt. But as far as the Prophet being a prophet and getting revelation through the Archangel Gabriel will not happen anymore. The Prophet Muhammad was the last prophet.
Why is that?
Because that's what Allah said so.
What's the point of that?
Like I told you, with everything that's the beginning.
Is eternal.
Let me explain something.
God is eternal.
Okay. God is eternal, but we're not, and this world is not.
We're just a little speck in this whole universe.
That is true. That's what the Quran tells us.
Why would he stop revealing?
For this speck, the revelation is finished, right? And this speck will finish. This world will finish, right? This world in itself is not eternal. Yeah, it will. You can look at any religious text. Any scientist will tell you that
spirit is eternal.
Exactly, but this world is not.
What do you think your soul is?
It's called ruh, right?
So
your ruh will leave this body, but this body and this world will finish. And your ruh, when you die, it goes to a place called barzakh, which is what we see in the graves today, right? This is a different level of existence. And from there, a day will come that everybody will be raised, and there'll be a day of judgment, a day of accountability. And then from there, you will go.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would God judge anything?
Why not? You were given choice of right and wrong. Why would you not be judged? It doesn't make sense that you wouldn't be judged, because if you're molesting kids and killing, raping and things like that, you think you shouldn't be held for judgment?
That's all part of your body thing, all the physical.
No. You have the ability to make decisions, right? Yeah. You will be punished or rewarded for those decisions. That's what we believe.
There's no punishment.
There is punishment.
There's no punishment.
There is punishment. A world without punishment would be unjust. If you came and killed my son, and there was no punishment for you, but this is what you have kids?
I have no kids.
All right. You have mother, sister?
No more.
Brother? No more? All right. Anybody you have a very close relationship with? Wife?
Yeah.
All right. If somebody came and raped your wife and murdered her, seriously, it's a serious question. To your wife?
To everybody.
No, I'm talking about your wife.
What happened in World War II?
Right. So now, if you feel that person doesn't deserve to be judged, that means you're not being serious in your response. You know that you would want judgment for that person.
For here.
Yeah, but see again, like earlier you said, what's the point of judgment? And now you're saying you do believe in judgment. So who would judge? Who's the best? What if that person dies and never gets judged for it?
Once that person gets on the other side, it's totally different.
So that murder and that choice he made, he would never be judged.
You can't kill a soul. You can't kill spirit. It's eternal.
But if you kill a person, should you not be held accountable for that?
Here.
So if you don't get held accountable here, then
hold you accountable.
Where did you get that
God
knowledge?
created that person that murdered your wife just like He
Right.
created you.
But God gave that person a choice. He shouldn't have murdered my wife.
But maybe your wife came here to experience that. That was her experience in this
But
life.
his
She needed to
decision,
learn something.
his decision is what he has to be held accountable for. In this world and the next. That's our belief. It's up to you to believe what you like.
So, is that why in Islam everybody's killing everybody?
No, in Islam, people are not killing everybody. Politically, there are people that kill everybody, like American soldiers that kill people, Israeli soldiers that kill people, African Christians that kill each other, and Muslims that kill each other. That's all based on politics. In Islam, you're never allowed to kill anybody. An innocent life has to be protected. And if you kill somebody, you have to be taken into account for that.
Then same address. This one is behind it. My
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you guys have your work cut out for you. I have to say,
I appreciate your support.
it's there's so much out there to choose from
Yeah.
nowadays.
After that study, I chose Islam. And more people are choosing it every day. It's the fastest growing religion in the world. Google it.
Because they're having babies.
No, conversion rates, not just babies. Yeah. Look it up. You can. I mean, if you look at here, this brother, he wasn't born Muslim. His family, his father became Muslim. Right? These people weren't from Muslim households. They chose it in a free country after having all the choices they have.
Good. If it works, good.
Again, I suggest you open up your heart, read the Quran again. I hope that spirituality will get through to you.
I'll try.
I appreciate it.
I'll try. It was, like I said, it was difficult reading. It didn't really.
Try it again. If at first you don't succeed, try again.
Try again. Oh no, because I'm fine with spirit.
Right.
I just want to understand like what is like, for example,
Wa alaikum assalam wa
rocket
rahmatullah.
science or anything. Like what was the difficult? Like for example, do you have any statement like this statement was difficult? I couldn't understand it or doesn't make sense to me. Or,
I didn't really get anything spiritual.
Yeah, I'm heading home to pray.
You know, it's like a lot of Old Testament stuff, rules. You know, do this, don't do that. You got to do this, and you got to do that.
Originally from Egypt, I am from
what about
And like he was saying, a lot of punishment. And
you.
Of course, you need it.
punishment.
Everything has to be in balance. Some people, even if you don't give them a punishment, they will do the right thing. But in the world we have laws and punishments. And why? Because some people need that stick. If you don't need it, don't worry about that part, read the rest. But some people need it, that's what keeps them straight.
In this world, yes. In this world.
Well, you're reading it in this world, so let's talk about that, right? But what happens in the next world is not for me and you to decide. It's for the it's for the creator of the next world to
Life
decide.
is eternal.
Right, but
Your life is eternal.
did you choose when to be born?
Spirit.
Did you choose when to be born?
Actually, I did.
You did?
Yeah, I
You
came
chose it?
from-
Did you write an application?
I came for the 60s.
You came from the 60s?
For the 60s. The 90s.
You came for the 60s? 60s are over.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so
But
you're
that's
still around?
that's what I came for.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did
No, I'm
you
enjoying
did you
it.
enjoy the 60s?
I did.
Yeah?
I did.
All right.
A lot.
A lot of the drugs and rock and roll, or
Everything.
everything, right?
Everything, yeah.
Free sex, all
You guys
that.
have
I
everything
came-
English
yeah.
here?
All right. Well,
I might come again
Do-
sometime.
do you think
We
that
have a nice planet here.
I have
it is a nice planet? Yeah. I hope you visit it again.
It's a little primitive, but
I hope you and
It's still
Zoran
kinda fun.
in Planet X have
It's
a
kinda
great
fun.
life.
what do they do on other side, other planet? Like
These-
where
these
you
peop-
came from?
You gotta ask them in Klingon.
Like the place you came from. What do they do
Can I
there?
take this?
what do they do? Same thing.
I have the
People
book.
just live on a higher level.
Do they need to eat and
They live on a
stuff?
higher level. And some planets, no. Some planets, they're already evolved to a point where they don't need to eat. They're not physical like we are. They're physical, but a less solid physical. They don't need food.
Do they still have sex? Just out of curiosity.
Some.
All right. 'Cause that would suck if you had a planet with.
Why?
I don't know. You
Sex
enjoy,
is part of the physical world.
Right, right, right.
That's not part of the spiritual
you didn't enjoy it in the 60s?
Well, yeah.
All right, so then that's why it would suck, right?
But that's your body, like you
Right,
were saying.
right,
You
right.
leave that behind.
Sometimes pretty spiritual, depending who you're with.
Oh, it can be.
Right.
It can be. You know, you can experience a lot of different things. I mean, life is life. We're here for a reason, right?
We're here to know who our Creator is and to worship Him and to get to that perfection in our deeds to Him.
That's a good point.
Thank you.
That's a good point.
Good. All right. Have a good day.
Is it possible
Thank you.
to bring something from other future
Yeah, let's go pray Maghrib.
Yes.
What can you bring us from there?
There are teachers from several planets. People get freaked around. Yes.